Hello, everybody. This is Greg29407 back with another episode of City of Heroes. Our last episode was chock full of lots of new information, all the Incarnate stuff, and we're going to do a little bit more of that today. Actually, a lot more of that today. I'm sitting here in Peregrine Island, and after the episode I did yesterday, I went ahead and just did a very basic mission. Um, I just did one of our radio missions for Peregrine Island. It's very basic, nothing to see there. But what I wanted to see was what happened with the Incarnates. What happens when you just do a regular mission that's not like Incarnate related? And what happened was, fortunately for us, I did pick up some more stuff. So we look at our salvage. We have all of our salvage here. And you can also click on this tab for Incarnate salvage. At the end of the episode yesterday, I had 1 Incarnate shard and 7 Incarnate threads. And in that particular mission, I picked up 2 more threads. So it was kind of a short mission. It was in a purple cave, which was no good. But I did pick up 2 more threads. So we are going to be getting this stuff just from doing regular missions, which is nice to see. Now, the other thing I want to show is what happens. I started wondering about this afterwards. Of course, we unlocked our alpha slot. Remember, yesterday at one point we're at 22% complete, and then we finished the Mender Ramil mission, and it was unlocked. So everything I did after that on that little mission, I have now 1% unlocked on Judgment and Interface. So apparently, as we go through and start picking up all that Incarnate XP, we're going to get regular XP as we level up, as well as Incarnate XP. And the Incarnate XP is going to unlock these 2, and then it'll unlock these 2, and then it'll unlock that one. So that'll unlock those. Now, the other thing I wanted to show was we were looking at this yesterday. So let's say for the alpha, let's say that for maybe I want to do the cardiac. And let's pretend like, I really want to do this cardiac thing. This is going to be my alpha slot. And this is my tier 1 alpha. So I have 2 ways of unlocking this. And, well, it's unlocked, but slotting this. I can create this cardiac boost, which boosts my endurance, reduces my endurance cost by 33%, by the way. I can do it either using shards or threads. So I have 2 different recipes here. And this one requires Ancient Nictus Fragment, Gray Matter, and Hero 1 DNA Sample. This one requires Supercharged Capacitor, Detailed Reports, and Biomorphic Goo. I think the first one is the shards. So let's see. If we click on this tab right here called Convert, we see we have these tabs: Incarnate Shard, Thread, Astral Merit, Empyrean Merit, and then these other things. So if we look at this Incarnate Shard, you have common, uncommon, rare, very rare, breakdown, and upgrade. Here we go. So these are the common items you can get with Incarnate Shards: Ancient Nictus Fragment, Dimensional Keystone, Essential Essence of the Incarnate Conversion, and Gray Matter, and Hero 1 DNA, and Penumbra of Rillalu. So notice, Gray Matter and Hero 1 DNA Sample are 2 of the things I need. The other one, I can't remember what the other one was. I can buy, now I can either get these, either I get them from as a drop, like regular salvage, or I can buy them from shards. So I need 4 shards to get this Gray Matter. I have 1 right now. I need 4 shards to get this Hero DNA Sample. So I can use shards to buy this stuff in order to create the slot that I want. Now, for the Incarnate Threads, we have the same kind of thing. We have commons. And here we have this thing for the commons: Arcane Cantrip, Biomorphic Goo, Detailed Reports, Enchanted Sand, Genomic Analysis, Meditation Techniques, Nanotech Growth, Supercharged Capacitor. Now these require 20 threads. Right now I have 9 threads. So you have to earn enough threads and that kind of thing. So that's for common. Now, let's go back over to the create. If we let's say we get this slot and we got this thing slotted up and ready to go, and then we want to do a tier 2. Now, let's say we want to do this tier 2. This tier 2 is we're going to acquire these 3 things. Now, 2 of these are common, and 1 of these is uncommon because it's the next level up. So if we go back over here to convert, we have our common shard stuff, and then we have our uncommon shard stuff. And the uncommon is, a handful of things too. These require more shards, and an essence of the Incarnate, apparently. So Incarnate, 8 of those, and then one of the essence of the Incarnate. What is essence of the Incarnate anyway? Oh, this thing, a common thing. So, but use a common and then some uncommon stuff. So as you go up on the tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, the stuff is a little bit tougher to get. It costs a lot more raw materials or drops to find, because again, we may do a mission and this thing, Drop of the Well, may just drop for us. So we'll save having to buy it or convert over to it. We'll just have it. So that's pretty good. So that's how that worked. And I was interested to see how. I was wondering what happened to all of my Incarnate XP after this thing was slotted up. Do you have to click on something like that? No. Now here's the other thing. I don't have any of this stuff unlocked yet up here, but I can still craft what I need. So let's say that I really, 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 really want that Cimarron pet that comes from the lore. We saw this yesterday. If you go into the lore, you can get all this stuff. So Cimarron, I really want to get this. So I'm going to need arcane cantrip, geonomic analysis, and meditation techniques. So I need to do this. So as I get these, I can buy these. I can either get these as drops, or I can buy them, convert them from Incarnate Threads. I can actually go ahead and create that. I can create this thing right now if I wanted to, if I had enough stuff. And I couldn't slot it yet because this is not ready to go yet. But you can create it and then have it sit there and wait until you're ready to go. So you don't have to wait for this thing to open before you can start crafting stuff. So that's the way that worked. Okay. Now, at the end of last episode, we got a couple of new contacts. We got this Belladonna Vetrano, question mark where she's at. We can call her up. And then we got this Captain Nolan in Peregrine Island, which is why we're here. And this guy is going to give us a mission that's going to lead us into the Dark Astoria area. Dark Astoria used to be just an adventure area. It was damaged. It was all foggy and stuff. It's pretty cool. Not many people ever used it, though. And now it is all for Incarnate stuff. And they have a series of repeatable missions that you can go in there, and it focuses specifically on Incarnate Threads and Shards and all that kind of stuff. So this guy is going to lead us in there. He's going to give us a little storyline, tell us what's going on in the Dark Astoria, and then he's going to introduce us to a couple of contacts that we can use as repeatable missions to get more stuff. So let's go talk to this character and see what he's all about. Now, if you do not do the Mender Ramil story arc, which you don't have to do anymore, you can still get this guy, Captain Nolan. You just have to know where to find him. So we're headed north towards the Portal Corporation. And he's a police captain, so he's going to be over here near the police station, it looks like. Yep. So our contact, our regular police contact for radio missions is right there, Detective McLeod. So here is Captain Nolan. Killdozer, thanks for coming. The situation we have calls for someone of your power level. Allow me to explain. We've had a series of deaths in Paragon as of late, starting a little before we had to shut the doors to Dark Astoria. The autopsy reports say that there are some who were suicides while others were murders. However, the one thing they had in common was some sort of religious symbolism behind all the deaths. The victims believed they had done something wrong and deserved to be punished. We sent in Detective Hop to investigate the case, but now he's gone missing. We then sent in some heroes to check it out, but they've gone too. We even requested help from a small supergroup, but, well, they're also missing now. This is why I've asked for your help. I don't think I want to go in there. I don't think I really want to go in there. There's a bunch of dead people now. Anyway, this is why I've asked for your help. Now that you're an Incarnate. Whatever is going on in there is bigger than us, Killdozer, and it needs to do whatever is flaring in Dark Astoria. Eye of Judgment. A man's body has been found in a nearby alley in Peregrine. It looks like he jumped to his death from one of the apartment buildings. Witnesses say he was mumbling something about sin and burdens before he jumped. This fits the pattern that we've been seeing. I'd like to ask you to check out the crime scene and see what you can find out. I will, but what is this about abandoned Dark Astoria? Ah, yes. Something bad has happened in Dark Astoria. Some time ago, these monsters began to spill out of the gates, monsters more powerful than we've ever seen before. Blue Steel and a squad of our, well, let's just call them super PPD Keldians, held off the monsters as long as they could, but it was obvious that they were fighting a losing battle. Blue Steel ordered that we shut the hazard gates while the heroes of the city investigate what to do about the situation. The Midnighter Club has set up a portal in Peregrine Island for those who are looking to investigate the cursed city. I think we're going to need that for later on. I believe that whatever caused these monsters to appear in Dark Astoria is somehow linked to this case, which has not only claimed the lives of civilians, but also possibly the lives of an entire supergroup of heroes. Be careful. All right, so I think that we're probably going to get some kind of special portal. Dark Astoria is located off of Talos Island, but it's kind of off to the side, and it's kind of hard to get to, so maybe they got a special portal to get there a little easier. All right, here's this dead guy. The scene before you is a grim one. You search through the dead man's pockets and see what his name is Harry Ephram, and he was carrying several hastily written notes. They talk about how he should never have left, that he knew he would have to pay for his sins after that day. One note describes in detail dreams he was having, stating that he saw horrific monsters clawing at his body, pulling him inward, all the while saying that they would feast on the power of his sin. The man concluded that he had no choice but to leave his life to prevent this evil from winning. You look through his pockets and see that he has been living out of a boat nearby in Peregrine Island. You might be able to get some information out there. Oh, let me just say that this mission does not have any battles in it. It's all like a educational mission. So if you want to skip to the next episode I do, that's fine. I think I'm not sure what we're going to find as we go through this stuff, but I think we'll get more information about the story that's going on. But I think no battles. Oh, we are going to get, I think we're going to get 2 new contacts too, which is very important. They're both the repeatable mission contacts. Okay, I don't think I've been over here before. Must be this lit up boat. Oh, I thought I was going to go into it. Okay. Clue found. Let's see what we found. You searched the boat in Peregrine Island and found the journal belonging to Harry Ephram. He writes about restless dreams that kept him up at night. The dreams began a few weeks before the monster spilled out of Dark Astoria. His early writings are coherent, Ephram wondering what they could all mean. He mentions that he saw an image of his old apartment in Astoria, and that sometimes the dreams in his mind were replays of his escape from the town when the banished Pantheon monsters began to rise. Excuse me. Ephram goes into great detail about his escape from Astoria. The dead were swarming the streets, slaughtering the people by dozens. He was followed by a woman named Heather Townsend. He was separated from the group at a certain point and ran for dear life, eventually making it into Talos Island. Ephram recounts that he later saw Townsend, who refused to talk to him. The writing in his journal becomes less coherent as the days go on. The nightmares seem to overcome Ephram's sanity. His last entry says he was going to visit someone in an old building nearby in apartment 113. Ephram said that he saw the apartment in his dreams, and he hopes that he can get the answers he desperately seeks from there. Investigate apartment 113, solo mission. All right. This is kind of like that movie, Room, I can't remember what it's called. It was a Stephen King story, short story, and it had Samuel L. Jackson and what's his name? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on it. It was a good movie. It took place in a haunted hotel room. I'm drawing a blank on his name. His sister's an actress, too. Anyway, it was a good movie. He was in High Fidelity and Grosse Point Blank, and I think he didn't say anything, too. It was a good movie, and this one seems like it's a little bit like that. I'm going to leave this stuff on because we're not going to fight anybody. It's a different kind of apartment building. Oh boy. This is like bad news. for? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't think we're in the apartment building anymore. Okay. There's some guy here. The man in the forest speaks to you, though he does not look at you. It begins again, the ebb and flow, back and forth, more march to the slaughter which we all hoped to stop. But we were cast out, called insane, after our work was done. No one would try to remember the past, how hard we fought to save the future. Who are you? No one. I was someone once, but now I am no one. I was cast out for what I did, for what we all did. They called us crazy. They couldn't believe what we said. We tried to save the world, and we were all destroyed for it. Now the world is paying for the sins of the past, for the sin of forgetting the past. What do you mean? The man remains silent, refusing to answer your question. You notice that he is somewhat ethereal, a ghost. Where am I? The border of life and death, its world, or rather part of it. I've been here before when we first fought. If you're here, it means it wants you, just like it wanted me so long ago. There's no turning back now. If it wants you, it will find a way to get you closer and closer. That's what happened with me, but it wasn't expecting what I did. Not that it mattered in the end. What is it? The man remains silent, his hands shaking at a thought. You notice that he is slightly see-through, indicating he must be a ghost. All right, see, what are you? Oh, okay, I already did that. All right, see if there's anything else in here. Oh, geez, what the heck is this? Oh, boy. They should be playing some spooky music in here. Well, this looks like the, oh, boy. Oh, man, look at this. That was freaky. It's taking me to Dark Astoria. Well, I got a nice recipe. Sudden acceleration, knockback, damage, recharge. Look for signs of friendly life. Oh, boy. Look at this place. Well, let's go over to where they're pointing us to. Oh, they turned off all my powers. I'm going to turn these on just in case. I know I'm not fighting anyone here, but let down my powers on anyway. Now, as I recall, back in the day, this was always a really foggy place. You couldn't see anything, and they had regular missions in here. A lot of the Banished Pantheon storylines that we did in the level 20s took place in Dark Astoria. And then when they decided to make that all for Incarnate stuff, they removed all that. There's all that red stuff. It's all very evil now. Here's some guy. Okay, Ephram Shaw. He's going to be one of our future contacts. So he's going to give us repeatable missions. Here we go. Killdozer, I am pleased to meet your acquaintance. My name is Ephram Shaw. I represent the broader interests of the Midnight Squad here in the heart of darkness. Dark Astoria is in turmoil. Everywhere one looks, there is death and chaos rising to claim this world. My mind's eye is capable of ferreting out the sources of this darkness, but my powers alone cannot banish it. The Midnight Squad has tasked me to seek out spirits of great power and request their aid. If your aim is to turn back the tide of death in Dark Astoria, then we have a common goal. I will be here to fight against the darkness that emerges. However, if you wish to get to the bottom of what's happening, I would suggest finding Heather Townsend. She is helping two of my associates with the matters here in Dark Astoria. Ephram Shaw is a repeatable mission giver in Dark Astoria. You can always get various missions from him. Enemies in these missions will reward Incarnate experience and have a chance to drop Incarnate Threads. Completing a repeatable mission will give you a choice of either 2 Incarnate Threads, 5 reward merits, or a single super inspiration. Now, I think that this was set up before Homecoming originally, and this was like the only ways you could get threads. You had to do these repeatable missions here. Now we can get Incarnate Threads by doing anything. So this is a way of getting guaranteed ones, at least 2 guaranteed every time, but we can still do any other kind of mission too and get those as well. So I think this is probably less important now than it was originally. But I think we'll still probably do some of these missions. Probably the threads are more valuable than the reward merits, because like on this character, let's see here. Reward. I've been doing a lot of stuff, different task forces and stuff, and for reward merits, I've got 558 of those things. So that's important. Okay, so that'll be good to know. So that's where this guy is. Let's find Heather Townsend. I remember I used to, when this was all foggy and stuff, I remember flying through here for like meeting with team members for story arcs, and it was all completely in fog. So you'd be flying around, all of a sudden you run to the side of a building for flying, or if you were doing the super junk like I'm doing now, all of a sudden you'd go splat right in the side of a building you couldn't see until like 2 seconds before you hit it. But it was pretty creepy and stuff. There's a big cemetery in here too, as I remember. I missed that. There's a big cemetery in the back corner where they used to fight Banished Pantheon. Okay, Heather Townsend. This woman before you seems to look worn out. That's not very pleasant. The circles around her eyes indicating she has either not slept for days or has barely slept at all. She smiles as you step past the runes. You're Killdozer, right? I've heard everything about you. My name is Heather Townsend. It's nice to see a friendly face around here, but how did you get here? Entire supergroup gone in a mysterious apartment? I see. It seems whatever is in the city wanted you to come here, perhaps to destroy a hero as well known and powerful like yourself. What are you doing here? What are these runes? I can't really answer either of those very well, but I'll do my best. A while back, I began to feel a pull to Dark Astoria. Something was calling me to return. I used to live here before the city was taken over by these monsters. When I entered the city, something felt wrong, more than usual. It felt like something was on the brink of bursting forth. There were these strange winged creatures flying towards the cemetery. Some of them were attacking some women who were armed to the teeth. They looked like assassins. I hid in the shadows as I watched these winged women fight the assassins. Winged women, oh wow, okay. The monsters called them traitors to the cause. Their fight was interrupted by this horrible moaning in the distance, followed by a violent earthquake. Something must have burst out of the cemetery. The monsters killed the assassins and departed. I felt the incredible force overcome me and blacked out. And then, I got an enhancement. All right, defense buff. All right. I woke up when we're standing right now, surrounded by these protective runes. There are 2 people with me, a man named Kadabra Kill and his wife Sigil. I asked them where the runes came from, but they said they did not know. All they knew was they were enough to hold back the darkness and the monsters, but they would not last for long. They both told me to leave, that they would help to get me out, but I refused. I came here to finish something, Killdozer, something that has been bothering me for a long time, and I intend to do just that. They requested that if I saw anyone else, that I ask them to help their investigation. They said they were part of some secret organization that was seeking to find out what was happening in Dark Astoria and put a stop to it. I guess that you would count as someone that could help their investigations, right? Let's ask you about this. Do you know a man named Harry Ephram? Heather Townsend sighs, nodding her head. He came to me a while back, even though I told him never to talk to me again. Harry said he was having dreams about Astoria and asked if I was having them too. I lied to him, told him I did not. He and I were both from Astoria, and we were here when the Banished Pantheon rose and attacked. We were separated. I went with one group of survivors while he went with others. We both barely made out with our lives. I wanted to forget it all that happened, Killdozer. I wanted to forget it all. Oh, okay. I wanted to forget it all ever happened, Killdozer. That's why I told poor Harry to leave me alone. But the dreams, they wouldn't stop. They became worse every day. I knew I had to come back here and find the answers to my dreams. I tried to find Harry, but then it was too late. He was delusional, driven mad by his dreams. I hoped that if I went to Astoria, I could find the answer to both our problems. How is Harry doing? Harry's dead, Heather. He killed himself, and you're responsible. Well, no. Just like the others. I heard about the rash of suicides. They were all people who used to live in Dark Astoria. Whatever is awake here is causing this, Killdozer. We have to find out what's going on and put a stop to it. I'll do everything I can to stop this, Heather. There's a lot to be done to save Dark Astoria, but I think we can make a dent. Okay, now she's going to give us some missions here. So I think we're going to end this episode here. She has a series of, I think, 4 missions in her story arc called Burden of the Past. It's not repeatable here, but we can repeat that in Ouroboros. And this actually gives us a lot of stuff, a lot of threads and shards, and this is very useful for redoing on a regular basis. We get a lot of stuff, and it's repeatable all the time. So we're going to pick this up with our next episode. So until next time, which will be very soon, this is Greg29407, along with Killdozer and Heather Townsend, saying farewell, and we will see you next time.